Welcome back, everyone. We are here at the Britannia Coin Company with Christopher. Christopher, I just firstly want to say thank you so much for meeting with me today. Amazing to see the collection and the different coins that we have on the table. We're going to discuss different coins, gold, silver, numismatic pieces. There'll be something for everyone, I think.
Fingers crossed.
Absolutely. So, firstly, starting, what do you do here at the Britannia Coin Company for those that don't know?
So we're a coin dealer. We buy and we sell coins and other precious metal things. Unlike some dealers, we don't specialize specifically within a niche. So we see people that have got a handful of 50p's all the way up to people who've got some really large bits of gold and silver or really collectible numismatic grade stuff. We will purchase it, we will sell it, whether that's through our website, through eBay, through our auction house, which has recently opened in Wootton Bassett as well. We get a huge variety of things in. We never quite know what's going to turn up, like I said, from change you might get in circulation to a great big bar of silver. And it's quite impressive when someone turns up with a suitcase and they open it up and it's like, wow, you've got amazing stuff in here.
We'll go through a variety of different things. So just starting with gold. Let's start with gold first of all. You buy gold here at the Britannia Coin Company.
We do.
And what types of different gold coins come in? What type of ones do we have here on the table as well?
So, I mean, what we probably see the most are sovereigns and Britannias. So these are double sovereigns. They're kind of interesting because you've got the Queen's Platinum Jubilee design, which is one of the unique designs, and then the Memorial design, which is released after the death of the Queen, which has the portrait of King Charles III. So they're quite cool, relatively new coins. But whether it's bullion grade sovereigns, so I forget where I've put it, but there we go. There's an old Victorian shieldback sovereign that we would buy and sell based as a sort of a popular bullion coin. Lots of people like buying sovereigns because, especially where interest rates have been really low since, say, way back to 2008, the financial crash, putting money in the bank doesn't earn you huge amounts of interest, whereas gold and silver historically over time keeps going up and up and up. So people like buying those sort of gold pieces to sit on them and sell them in the future, hoping that they're worth a lot more than when they bought them.
So in terms of gold, we know that gold's been here for thousands of years. It'll be here thousands of years once we depart. In terms of gold, what are people buying right now?
I think people are just buying whatever they can at the best prices. And I know in the UK that there's going to be a bit of a shift because of the changes to capital gains tax. The UK legal tender is exempt from capital gains tax. So if you have your modern sovereigns, you can sell them in the future at a profit and not pay tax on the amount of money you've made. Whereas if you had some foreign gold, so say for instance this Chinese panda or the American eagles or Canadian maples, if you sell them in the future and you've made a profit, you potentially then have to pay tax on some of that profit that you've made. That's why we're seeing quite a bit of people selling up their foreign gold to invest in British gold because it's more tax effective.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I tend to see that people do like sovereigns. Is it more interested in sovereigns? Is it half sovereigns? Is it
I think probably it's the sovereigns itself. There is an interesting mixture to have out of the doubles, the fulls, the five sovereigns we've had a few of recently, or the halves, because it's nice to have pieces where you can, if you need to sell a little bit because I don't know the car's blown up and you've got a big repair bill, you can sell off a fraction of it rather than have to sell a great big bit of gold. But yeah, definitely the sovereigns are probably the ones we see the most, and it's helped with the fact that the sovereign, the Royal Mint themselves call it the chief coin of the world. Everyone knows what a sovereign is, whether you go to the United States or Australia. The sovereign is an internationally recognised coin, which helps its appeal.
And you've got sovereigns from the UK, of course. You've got sovereigns from all over the world, I take it, with the history.
Yeah, so historic sovereigns would have been struck in the branch mints around the world. So testing my knowledge off the top of my head, but there are Canadian, the ones in Canada. So there's Melbourne mints and things like that. What's interesting is some of those what would have been Royal Mint branch mints have now become quite prestigious mints in their own rights in their own country. So the Canadian mint is probably the most technologically advanced, or one of them going. The Australian Mint makes some absolutely cracking stuff as well. But that's all grown out of what was the Royal Mint as part of the British Empire.
Yeah, absolutely. These we've got some fake gold
Yeah.
coins, if we can just delve into that as well, so we can show
So,
people.
an interesting tray of fake coins. Hopefully, you can see what I've got there.
Yeah, if not, I can do a little scoop in. If not, I'll just
Yeah.
show the coins quickly.
So obviously we see a lot of fake coins, and it's sometimes some of them are more convincing than others. Some of them, if you don't have a lot of experience, you would probably be able to spot and go, "There's something not quite right about that." Whether its design details are wrong or it weighs wrong. But because our reputation is really important to us, so we have it's called an XRF machine. So it's a little machine. We'll pop one of these coins in, give it a zap, and it will tell us what the metal composition is. So we know what it should be and what it shouldn't be, and we can spot it. There are many other ways you can test if a coin is fake, but that's what's really important. If you're buying, sometimes if the deal is too good to be true, then it's because it's too good and it's fake coins. And unfortunately, it's something we've got to be really rigorous about because we've seen so many fakes. We've got boxes and cabinets full of fake coins just to display what potentially is out there.
Let's say someone has a collection of gold coins that they've accumulated, and let's say they bring it to the Britannia Coin Company. Will your company be able to test and check every single coin, so those buying on the other end will buy authentic coins?
Oh, definitely. What also helps is that at the Britannia Coin Company, I've been here just over 2 years now, but we have a team of people who've been working within the coin industry for the majorities of their lives, so they are really up on it. So I've got colleagues that they can have a handful of coins that from around the world, and by eye they can pull out the different silver and the different silver the finenesses of the silver as well, which is really impressive. So it's a mixture of the expertise and experience within the coin industry, but then also the testing of the XRF machines and other things we can do, like if you have some really sensitive scales, that you can get an idea of whether a coin's underweight, overweight, or whatever.
Yeah, one of the things that struck me, actually, it was one of the commenters from a previous video, was they mentioned about some sovereign scales. I've never seen any before. And how does that work? Do you know?
I remember I made a video with one specifically. This was like over a year ago, so testing my knowledge. But it was like this little contraption, and you'd pop the sovereign in, and if it balanced perfectly, then that was fine. And if it didn't, it wasn't. I remember I spent about 45 minutes to an hour with my colleague, and he was explaining exactly how it worked and why it worked. And now it's totally disappeared out of my head. But they are kind of cool. But I guess if you've got precise enough jewelry scales or scales that can do a couple of decimal points, then you should be able to work out that whether it is the right weight or not.
Yeah, things have definitely come along since those times, for sure. Just in terms of so we've got the sovereigns, we've got the half sovereigns, the fractional gold. Is that a good buy? What's your thoughts on it?
Again, it's useful to have different, as I said earlier, having different quantities of gold, because you can sell a smaller quantity if you don't need a huge amount of money to be liquidated. I guess it's also nice to have a bit of variety as well. So I mean, something like that. This isn't actually a coin. This is like a little 1 gram gold round. But again, it's nice. It's a curious little thing to have in the collection. So I guess it depends what kind of buyer you are, because you might be buying purely to make profit, and then I guess you want to buy the biggest pieces because you're paying the less premium, you'll gain more in the long term. But if you're a bit of a collector as well, having a nice little variety of stuff can be quite cool too.
I've actually collected some gram gold bars, so I'm collecting some over. I think it's more so the collectability that you can get over more so the premium. It's nice to have, but I suppose everyone's different. Everyone's got different budgets, haven't they? So in terms of gold, we've got some foreign gold, I think, there as well. If we can briefly touch upon foreign gold. So what coins have you got?
So we have got there is that's a French 20 franc. So these are quite older coins. These would have been, I believe, circulating coins at the time, a bit like the sovereign in the UK used to be a coin in circulation, which is quite kind of crazy to think. There's some Swiss 10 and 20 francs, German 10 and 20 marks. And again, it's interesting to have these kind of coins in as your sort of stack of your collection, because again, adds a bit of variety, a bit of history. And I think it's kind of cool, because if this was a circulating coin way back when, what was someone spending that particular coin on? Is that a deposit on a house? Is that a loaf of bread? Your week's shopping, a night out? I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
The history and just having a bit of variety of the different gold from around the world.
Yeah, I suppose back then you would pay for property in sort of gold coins as opposed to what we've got now, isn't it? It's just a quick bank transfer and things, I suppose, now. But yeah, thank you very much for the gold. Let's move on to silver then. So we've got lots of different silver pieces. Silver obviously has more of a premium when it comes to, especially here in the UK. It's different to when you purchase, let's say, in the US, who they have states where they may not perhaps pay VAT on it. And can you just explain to me about silver? What's your thoughts on silver?
Yeah, so silver again. It's an interesting topic. You've got lots of things like the silver Britannias, which are pretty much the standard 1 ounce silver coins from the UK. Internationally, we've got the sort of Walking Liberties, or we've got a tube of Canadian maples there. Again, it's cheaper to buy silver than gold. So for the people that don't have as deeper pockets to invest, potentially silver might be a better gambit. Obviously, it's not as valuable as gold.
So some of the silver, you've got some, I think Tudor beasts, I want to say, on here as
On the
well.
money there. So these are 2 ounce silver bullion Queen's Beast coins. So we've got the Falcon of the Plantagenets, the Black Bull of Clarence, the Lion of Mortimer, Lion of England. This is quite interesting with these sort of silver bullion coins, because it's almost like we're seeing the Royal Mint pivot a bit towards these sort of commemorative bullion coins, which is skirting the border between what the proof commemorative coins would be and sort of bullion coins. They're a bit more of a premium on those, but again, they're quite desirable and exciting. And some, again, like the proof releases, they have a limited mintage, which again can be quite exciting if it's a low enough number.
Yeah, I know that the Royal Mint are obviously bringing lots of different commemorative coins in. There's a lot of talk on Tudor Beast series at the moment. We'll come on to that. There's been the Queen's Beast, which has been, I think, very popular.
It was hugely popular, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really nice designs.
Yeah, the completer coin for me is one of the best coins they've ever done.
Agree, yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. You've got, I think they've concluded the Queen's Beast series now, if I'm not mistaken, and they're going into the Tudor Beasts.
Yeah.
There are people that are a little bit concerned that they may cancel the Tudor Beasts. What's your thoughts on
So
that?
I've not heard anything about cancelling the Tudor Beast. I'm hoping they don't, because something I personally have bought myself, the 1 ounce proof silvers. The Queen's Beasts were wildly popular. They are really nice designs. They're designed by Jody Clark, who designed the fifth and final portrait of the Queen. I think Jody Clark's a bit in a league of his own when it comes to coin designing. His work is amazing. And the gentleman that's doing the Tudor Beast, David Lawrence, I believe, again, someone who's done lots of very nice coin designs for the Mint over the years. I think part of the problem is, because the Queen's Beasts are passed down through the monarchy, a lot of the same beasts would be for the Tudor period as they are now, because there's not a huge amount of erotic beasts that have been created since then. So we're seeing the replication of a lot of those designs. I think it's a bit of churn. It's a bit of, I think the designs aren't as impressive as the Queen's Beast one. So there's a bit of, I don't think they're as popular, but who knows? I mean, the British Monarch series has recently been cancelled. I think they've officially cut the cord on that, which is a shame, because again, there were some interesting coins in that series. Some notable monarchs that weren't included. So I think if they'd included it, would have been a bit more popular. But I don't know. It's really hard to tell with these things. Like I said, the Tudor Beasts, we hope they're not going to be cancelled. Yeah, because it's a cool series. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The British monarchs in particular, that's been a hot topic. Obviously, they've cancelled the series. It was something that I was personally collecting myself as well.
Yeah.
I know that people are selling off some of their collections. Do you think that now that they've cancelled this series, do you think that perhaps there may be a future sort of resurgence? Do you think people might find it popular in the future?
So, in a bizarre twist, my belief, especially if you have some of the later ones in the British Monarch series. So why have they cancelled that series? It's got to be because they're not selling. Yeah, it's got to be because they're sat at the Royal Mint and nobody's buying them. So what will happen to those coins? They will get melted down. So it might have been a limited mintage of, I don't know, a number off the top of my head, 10,000 of them. They sold a couple of thousand. They've got 8,000 left in their store that are going to get melted down, which means in 4 years' time, when the sales figures come out and we find out how many actually were sold and how many actually are out there, you can end up with some very low numbers. So I think some of the last ones could be really good buys now, because in the future, when we find out how low mint they were, they'll then become desirable coins. It's really stupid. It's a bit like with the Olympic 50p, the 2009 dated one for the Blue Peter winning design. They made 100,000 of those things, and they just didn't sell. People weren't interested. So the vast majority of them got destroyed, and it's because the vast majority got destroyed, and there's only a very small amount of them that are actually left. That now they're really valuable and desirable. So it's really weird sometimes. Sometimes it's clever. The clever decision is to pick the stuff that's not popular, because it's not popular. In a few years' time, when we find out how many are out there, that could make them really popular. It's really silly, but
Yeah,
a bit meta.
I suppose there are collectors out there that really do look at limits when it comes to the mintages.
Yeah.
And I suppose when that comes out in the future, I suppose people might see that number and they might be more inclined to actually buy that type of thing, and it could rise its value. I suppose it's a supply and demand type thing, isn't it?
Exactly that. I mean, it's not so much applicable to the bullion stuff, because again, bullion stuff is traded for the content of the metal effectively. So it's not so much like that, but the proof stuff definitely. Mintage figures play quite a key factor in whether something's desirable or not.
Now we've talked on some silver. We've got a couple of bars here as well. I'll briefly touch upon bars, because there will be collectors, stackers alike that might prefer bars over coins for whatever reason. Are silver bars a good buy?
I mean, they're not as tax effective, but again, they are quite cool to have as well, aren't they? The thing with bars, when we're buying them, we've got to be very careful, because the problem is not so much with something of that sort of thickness. This is a 1 kilo bar, so it's much more comfortable to hold. But say this 5 kilo one, it's quite a thick piece there, so we've got to do extra testing to make sure that there's no sort of lead core in the middle, or some other metal that again will keep the weight but won't be as valuable. So we've got to be really careful buying these bars, and as you should, if you're buying them from other people and you don't have the kit that we've got to test stuff like that, you've got to be really mindful that you don't want to be buying a lead cord big old silver bar. But no, again, I guess it's all about the diversity in what you've got. I mean, they make very good door stops as well, so they're multifunctional. They don't just sit in the drawer. But
I remember I can't remember where I saw it or heard it, but someone had actually painted it and used it as a doorstop. I don't think it was. I think it was an actual bigger one. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's fake or something. Yeah. It just intrigued me to say that. I suppose if you've got a massive chunk of silver, you could hide it quite obviously. I suppose by making it into a doorstop. It was interesting when I heard that, because when I saw it and they said that they painted it black, I think, and no one knew. No one knew. So
incredible. The problem is if someone inherits that and doesn't realise it's a painted silver bar, they could end up throwing that in the skip.
And that's the worst thing. You're throwing away thousands of pounds potentially as well. Yeah. But I mean, in terms of the coins, the silver coins, you've got lots of different sort of bullion coins. So you've got the Britannias, you've got the American Silver Eagles, Canadian Maples. Do you have any sort of personal favourite that you like in terms of design? Or
so me personally, my mother's Canadian, so I'm half Canadian. So the Maples I think are really quite special.
Yeah.
I love the intricate security features on it. I love the portrait that they used of the Queen, because Canada used to use the same portraits as we did in the UK, but then they decided it's Canadian coins, we should probably have a Canadian design portrait of the Queen, and obviously now King. But I really like that final portrait they used of the Queen on coins, so I think they're quite cool as well. In terms of foreign silver as well, one other thing that we stock, they are our best value world crowns. So these are they're 28.28 gram crown coins. They're sterling silver, and they can be from all sorts of places like Bermuda or Tristan da Cunha. And again, sometimes they're proof coins, but we trade them on the bullion value because that's what people are wanting to buy. And again, it's another interesting alternative to sort of invest in. And I think these are generally cheaper than your sort of standard Britannia bullion coins. And it's an interesting mixture of stuff that could end up turning up at your doorstep as well.
I'm just going to show to the camera so they can see some of these as well. So these are some of these are crowns, are they? Crown coins?
So, to the best of my knowledge, they should all be crowns, which is 28.28 grams. And again, there's some interestingly shaped ones, some interesting designs. Some members of the royal family we don't see too often nowadays that from time to time.
And the designs, they are truly stunning, like some of them, aren't they?
Yeah.
And these are cheaper than 1 ounce. I actually saw these on the website as well. I was intrigued with the best value sort of coins as well. And obviously silver has gone up. So I suppose with those looking at getting some different types of silver coins in their collection or stack, they can look at these silver crowns and get them off the Britannia Coin Company's website.
Yeah, because with those ones, it's a random lot. So if you buy 5, you buy 10, you buy one or 5 or 10 get pulled out of the bucket. So it's not a case of you can specify which ones you want. So you'll end up with what you've got. But again, it's quite a cheap alternative way to invest in silver. Similar with in this bag, we've got a whole bunch of pre-decimal silver coins, because these were coins would have been used in circulation. Before 1947, they'd been 50% silver, and then before 1920, sterling silver. Again, it's an interesting way to have a bit of different silver within your stack, in your collection. Again, some of the history of these coins are pretty neat.
So in terms of silver in British coinage, you've pre-1920, it was sterling silver.
Correct.
And then from 1920 to 1947, they reduced the content.
Yeah, down to 50%. Obviously, anything from 1947 or onwards, the sort of silver coloured British pre-decimal coins, they'd be copper nickel, the same as a 50p is nowadays. But so if you've got a handful of pre-decimal coins, do check your dates, and you could have some silver in amongst it.
I suppose the benefits of that as well, because lots of people will have relatives, especially sort of those interested in coin collecting, or just seen a design of a coin they've perhaps kept in the family. I suppose you've not only got the silver content of that, but you may have some numismatic value as well.
Definitely, because if it's a key date, if it's in really nice condition, potentially it might have more value numismatically to a collector than just the intrinsic value of the silver as well. And we've had lots of people who have brought in their pre-decimal silver to sell because they've had a relative who has switched on at the time, realised that silver was being removed from circulation, and so decided to keep it all at face value. A bit like in the States, you can still, if you're lucky, find some circulating silver coins, get it at the denomination's face value, which again is obviously going to be a lot less than the actual silver content.
How amazing would it be if we could go to the bank and do a little coin roll and find some silver? It'd be amazing, wouldn't it? But I suppose all our coinage has gone copper nickel from 71, I want to say. Is that right?
So we decimalised in 1971, so we got rid of the pounds, shillings and pence, and changed to the new pounds and new pence in 1971. But these would have been potentially still used into the 70s, because it wasn't a case of right, bang, we're done with pre-decimal coins. It was a slower process of them being brought out, a bit like back in 2016 when the new pound coin came out. It wasn't a case of wham, here's the new ones, old ones are all gone. It took a bit of time to phase them out. So potentially for years after they could have been finding some silver coins, but I very much doubt nowadays you'd find silver coins in your change.
It'd be amazing if we could. But I suppose times have changed, and we've seen the new notes actually come out, which is very sort of new, the King Charles notes.
Yeah.
Have you seen them yet?
I have seen a couple now. They still look a bit like Monopoly money to me. Because I kind of got used to the idea of seeing King Charles on our coins, but seeing him on a note, it was immediately like, oh, that looks so different. But it is kind of interesting. It feels like we're living through history. When the Queen Elizabeth II passed away, there was lots of confusion about what was going to happen with our coins, because for many of us, a 70-year reign, none of us had known another monarch. So we'd assumed that, lots of people had assumed that all of her coins with her portrait on would be phased out and replaced by the king's, when actually, before the Queen's reign, before we decimalised, you could find all sorts of monarchs on your coins, whether it was George VI or Edward or Victoria before George V. And now we're starting to get into that period where we're starting to see another monarch on our coins at the same time, which I think is kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely that change, isn't it? It's that shift that I suppose from Queen Elizabeth II reigning from 52 all the way up to 2022, the vast majority of people haven't even seen another monarch. So I suppose those that's definitely born sort of after decimalisation, after 1971, they would have known any differently, would they? So it's great to see. And in terms of the silver coins that you can buy, the pre-1920, 1920 to 1947, is that something that a lot of collectors buy, a lot of people?
Yeah, so we regularly buy it in and sell it. We sell it in lots of kilograms. So you can buy a kilogram, you can buy 2 kilograms, or however much we've got in stock at the time. But again, it's a popular thing because, again, people will buy a bag of it and flip through looking for dates, adding into their collection, not just investing in the silver. you could get something exciting in that bag too.
And in terms of some of them, just before we move on from silver, you've got some of these lunar year coins I want to say as well. So I thought we touch upon that quickly, because I know that a lot of mints in a lot of places, I know from personal experience from collecting them, I'm very big on the lunar year of the dragon. I've got loads of different dragon coins because I don't know why, I just like it. But in terms of the lunar years, we've seen the Royal Mint have released them as well. And what coins have you got there?
So these from Australia, 2016. I don't know if you want to show the camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lunar Year of the Monkey. Again, the Lunar Year is quite a popular series. I believe it's coming to an end sometime soon. Again, that's nothing I know officially, but I have heard from other people that collect. But it's an interesting series, and what's always kind of interesting as a collector is that they get released at the end of the year, but dated for the next year. So at the end of this year, 2024, we'll probably see the 2025 coin come out before we actually get into 2025.
Yeah, it's strange that, isn't it? I suppose they have to mint them all before the next year. And I find that with Britannias and everything, they seem to do it on the fourth quarter, and then they release everything. And then you find that shops and different bullion dealers and places will buy them. So there'll be a more demand perhaps in the silver, but that's really just to get the next year's, the Britannias, etc. But yeah, just briefly as well, the maple that you did mention, that being your personal favourite, that's actually one of my personal favourites as well. Yeah,
good taste in it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's some people think it's a little bit simple, but I just think it's very elegant.
Yeah, it's the thing with designs is it's so subjective as to what looks like a nice design. So what might be a design I think is really nice, someone else might think that's horrible. Why would you like that? And vice versa. So it's always interesting to see what kind of designs people like, what they're drawn to. Especially, I haven't got any to hand today, but there's lots of companies that are producing sort of. They're not coins, but they're sort of like items and shapes and themes and masks out of silver as well. And again, some of them they grab the eye and go, "Oh, that's really nice. I could have one of those in my stack or my collection."
Yeah. You can get lots of different, even things that are like art pieces that's, I suppose they're coins because they have a value. You see lots of different pieces now, and there is a high premium on it, but it's a different market, I want to say.
Definitely, yeah. I think you're getting into sort of the realms of sort of like proof coins. If you're buying proof coins, you're sort of, if you're doing it as an investment, you're gambling on it becoming a popular design in the future, and then therefore getting numismatic value rather than your standard bullion coin. You're just hoping silver carries on going up and up and up over time to sell in the future. So yeah, I guess it's there's so many niches within numismatics, coin collecting, that it's quite a very broad topic.
We'll move on now to some 50p's.
Okay.
I know that you do like 50p's yourself.
Yeah, that is my specialist subject.
Yeah. In terms of 50p's, I know that we do see lots of different designs from the Royal Mint, sort of every year. I want to say they bring out more designs now, and not a yearly one.
Yeah.
Have you got a personal favourite 50p?
It's got to be the Isaac Newton 50p. It's a really lovely design. It's Aaron West, I think, designed that. Also did the Great Fire London £2 coin, another really pretty design. It's the coin that started me. One of the first coins that came out that started me collecting coins again, because I'd collected on and off since I was a kid. And I really wanted to find one of these new Isaac Newton 50p's, and that's when I started making my videos of going through the bag. So not only is it a really nice design, it's also it's the coin that turned me into Christopher Collects, effectively. So yeah, it's a really nice design. It's a fairly scarce one as well. It's not the rarest coin. You're not going to be able to retire if you find one in circulation, but it's definitely a little spike of excitement if you do find one.
Yeah, I want to say that's the one that I always say that it kind of looks like Saturn. Is that? Yeah.
It's a sort of a space themed. Isaac Newton and all his great achievements throughout time. And obviously, a man that's linked to Royal Mint as well.
It was one of those things where I didn't even know. When you go to the Royal Mint, I know that you've been to the experience yourself. I've been on the experience, and I didn't even know Isaac Newton was the head of the Royal Mint for so many years. It's crazy. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, that's nice you say that, because that's actually one of my favourite ones as well.
There we go.
Funnily enough. So yeah, it's funny that. But there is the Kew Gardens as well, which is obviously the hot topic when it comes to 50p's. Do we still find Kew Gardens in our change?
Definitely. I mean, it's been a few years since I found one personally. My colleague, who also works for the Britannia Coin Company, got one in her change, not last summer, the summer before. I'm forever being messaged by people who've just found their first Kew Gardens or found a Kew Gardens. So they are definitely out there. They're worth keeping your eye out for, because that is the standout piece within sort of what you can find in what you should be able to find in circulation and change. There are other things that again, rarer or that shouldn't be in circulation, errors and some territory ones that are quite valuable. But in terms of what you should be able to find, the Kew Gardens stands out head and shoulders above the rest.
And in terms of the Kew Gardens, when it comes to, let's say, if you can't find it in your change and you want to complete your collection, can you buy that from the Britannia Coin Company?
Yep. So we regularly buy Kew Gardens 50p's in. They're available on our website. Again, the Kew Gardens is a great example. We've showed you that tray of fake coins. We've also got 5 or 6 or 10 fake Kew Gardens that we've seen over the years. You have to be really careful when you're buying them from the likes of eBay or other means of buying coins online, because again, you don't want to be caught out with fake Kew Gardens.
I suppose when you, let's say, you have a preference of where you buy your coins, I suppose when you go into the realms of eBay and entrusting that the private seller is sending you a genuine coin, let's say Kew Gardens, unless you, if you don't really know what you're looking for, or if you can't certify it, I suppose you're taking the risk.
Exactly, and it's not just that someone might be selling it to you to have you over. They might be, they might not realize that it's a fake or a copy or a counterfeit version of it. So the seller might also not be aware of what they're actually trying to sell. So it's not just that the seller's trying to catch people out. It's just a general misunderstanding or a misidentification or not figuring out that it's fake coin. So again, sometimes cheap is not always best when you're trying to buy stuff.
I suppose when you want to complete your collection, you want to make sure it's all genuine and everything. Yeah. So I probably suggest that it's worth going to an authorized dealer, someone that knows what they're doing. Definitely. When it comes to just to make sure that you're not buying any fakes, especially the seller. The seller might not know, as you mentioned. They might be selling a product that they think is genuine, but they just don't know what to look for. So in terms of the 50p's, the biggest sort of collection when I see from it, is it going to be the London Olympics is the ones to mainly look out for?
So. The 2011 Olympic Games set that was released the year before the London Olympic Games, it's a 29 coin set. The rest, which is the Olympic football, the offside rule one, again that is probably the standout piece in those. The top 4 or 5 are pretty amazing coins to come across, but the rest of them aren't the rarest coins. You probably won't find them in your change on a day-to-day basis, but one will turn up every now and again. They're not massively valuable, but they were produced en masse for use in circulation, so you can't really expect a huge amount of premium for them. But no, it's definitely an exciting set. We've had the Olympic aquatics with the lines over the face of the design. We've come across those a couple of times since I've been here. They are very cool to see in person. But again, a really highly counterfeited coin. The rarer the coin is, the more the incentive there is to make fakes and replicas of it, to try and for either, I guess, if you're being optimistic, to make copies of it so that people can have a placeholder in their album, or people trying to sell them and make a huge profit by mis-selling what they actually are.
Yeah, I suppose you just have to be really careful with it all, really. And you've got the £2 as well. We'll finish on the £2.
Okay.
We've got lots of different designs, similar to a 50p as well. So they're all minted by the Royal Mint. And you've got lots of different designs for the £2. When it comes to what ones to look out for, what are the £2 that you need to look out for?
There's probably the Commonwealth Games set, released in 2002. There's the 4 constituent parts of the United Kingdom, so England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Be careful with the Northern Ireland and the England one, because the difference is very subtle, especially for a coin that's been in circulation potentially since 2002. That little bit of a design detail could easily wear away over that passing of time. And you don't want to, if you're selling one, you don't want to sell a Northern Ireland for England prices. You want to try and get the most you can from it. Make sure that you're identifying those. They look very similar, and there's just a little flag in the little circle that stands out. But there's some quite exciting ones. Off the top of my head, I quite like the Navy Centenary £2 coin. I think that's a very pretty design, and again, one that's got a low enough mintage. It's quite exciting when one turns up, but it's not low enough that you'll never find one. But the interesting thing with £2 coins, we haven't had a new commemorative £2 coin put into circulation since 2016, the Great Fire of London. So all those subsequent years, the Royal Mint has still made commemorative £2 coins, but not for circulation, just in packages, so collectors can buy them for their collection. And I know that's a bit of a contentious issue with the Royal Mint recently, because so much are coming out that are not being put into circulation. So there are people being turned off feeling like they're not really coins if there's no intention to put in circulation. So a debate for another day, I reckon.
Yeah, I suppose the good thing about £2 and 50p coins, the good thing I find when it comes to coin collecting or silver and gold, whether it be coins or bars, coins especially, you can buy 50p coins, you can find them in your change, you can buy them for very cheap, and £2 as well. You can start off a collection with very little money.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and in terms of when you grow, I suppose you've got that. You've got the 50p's, the £2 that you can collect from your change, and then it goes all the way up to gold and gold bars and things like that. So I there's something for everyone, really. So in terms of the Britannia Coin Company, they cover pretty much all the way from 50p's all the way up to your nice shiny gold pieces that you can. I think that's it, Christopher. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for making the trip here. It's been great fun doing the video with you.
Great stuff.
Show off some of the exciting stuff that we've got here.
And if you would like to buy from the Britannia Coin Company or check their site, I will leave a link to the Britannia Coin Company in the comments. And also Christopher collects as well, because he does some 50p coin hunts, which I personally watch myself. They're brilliant, and you can go check him out. But thank you all so much for watching. See you in the next one.